Hello, friends. This discussion is about an approach to the reality. I would like to start by looking at our universe, at our outer universe. A recent scientific information is that there are about 2 billion galaxies, each of them containing on the average 400 billion stars like our sun. This is the known universe, which has a diameter of 93 billion light years. What is behind is not known and will not be known because the universe is expanding with a speed higher than the speed of light. So it is a very, very big universe that we exist in. Now, I would like to look inside to explain to you that there's an internal infinity too. About 40 years ago, in a mosque, an old man, I was young, and I saw an old man. The old man said, "Sit down, I want to give you some advice." So a few people sat down, and he said, "If I take a small piece of dust from this carpet, is it divisible?" "Yes, you can divide it." "Can you divide it further?" "Yes, you can, up to a point where you cannot divide it anymore. And people call this an atom," he said. This old man looked like a porter. He was very clean, but very poor looking. And then he said, this atom, which was supposed to be indivisible, then was discovered to be divisible to its electron and the nucleus. Then they said the nucleus is not divisible. The nucleus was divided into the protons and the neutrons. They are indivisible, they said. Then later on they discovered that a neutron can be split into an electron and a positron, and further and further. So this old man said, look, as much as you go into this nucleus, it will be further split and split and split, and there will be no end to it, because an atom is a sub-universe. An atom is a universe. So he said, if you look at a small piece of dust on your finger, this dust contains millions of universes. And your body is an extremely big system consisting of extremely big number of universes. Now he said, how can you run this machine to cheap purposes, to simple, savage purposes? That was a striking question. But it also showed me that there is an infinite universe above and an infinite universe inside me. We exist somewhere in between. This is, of course, the reality of the 3 dimensions which we all are aware of. How about other dimensions? I'm sure that the reality has higher dimensions. As an example, I would like to explain this concept as follows. If I'm a creator of a computer games, let's say I created a game and there is a Superman, there is a Spider-Man, and many other characters which I define, and they exist in 2 dimensions, which is the screen of a computer, 2 dimensions. If Superman, for instance, is looking around and says, who created me? Who made my drawings? Who created me? He's flying around. He cannot find anything because he has no point of contact with me. He has only 2 dimensions. I have 3 dimensions. I am infinite times bigger than him. And all his rules, all his information is far from explaining me or limiting me. So let's not think that the universe we see is everything. No, because there is a big theory that the universe is a simulation. Well, if you consider higher dimensions, yes, it is a simulation, but it is not very abstract. It is quite concrete, but still a simulation. So we understand that there is meaning to this universe, and there are correlations which openly suggest that there is a central programming of all the cosmos, all the universe, and all life. So we are curious about finding reference to explain us who we are and what we are supposed to do. There are 3 main holy books: the Old Bible, the New Bible, and the Quran. I want to mention about the Quran to show you that there really is an authentic, unchanged, original message of the Creator. I want to show you 2 examples. First of all, the Arabic language has an important point. Every letter has a corresponding number. This is called the Hisab al-Abjad. Every letter has a number. Now, we will look at 2 examples. One is the chapter talking about the element iron. It's called the iron, or in Arabic, al-Hadid. Iron, element iron, has atomic number 26, and atomic weight, the most abundant isotopes are 56 and 57. Now, the iron, this chapter, is 57th from the beginning and 56th from the end. And when you calculate the word iron, it gives you 26, which is the atomic number. If you calculate it together with its article, the iron, then it gives you 56. One is the atomic number, and the other one is the atomic weight. This is the main point which I want to talk about. But a small detail is that in this chapter, it says, God brought iron from the sky. I said, how come? Then I made a research and learned that the fusion history of Earth is not long enough to have its own iron. All the iron that exists, according to science, has come to Earth by the meteorites. So this is another miracle of the Quran. A second example for my very critical question will be the chapter about the bees. A bee in Arabic is called nahl. A bee has a specific number, the chromosome number. Every animal has a specific number of itself called its chromosome number. And the chromosome number of the bee is 16. It's not a surprise to me that this chapter is chapter number 16 in the Quran. Furthermore, when you count the letters of the word nahl, bee, they add up to 16. Now, there are many other examples of this sort about animals whose chromosome numbers are expressed with the numerical findings of these words, the Hisab al-Abjad, the calculation of Abjad. Now the critical question is as follows. 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, the Arabs called the iron hadid, or they called the bee nahl. How would they know that after 2,000 years a book will come and this word hadid will add up to the atomic number and together with the article will add up to the atomic weight and the chromosome number of the animals. This is impossible for any other form of intelligence to arrange on Earth. So ancient alien theologians who claim that the holy books were written by ancient aliens cannot be correct. Why? Because they couldn't come to Earth 2,000 years ago and collect all the Arabs and teach them how to call each of these animals and the elements. It's impossible. This can be explained only by creation, meaning the syntax of their brains, their biochemicals, were predetermined to name a bee as Nahl. So thousands, tens of thousands of people living in that geography with that specific chromosome structure, with that specific biochemicals of their brains, were predetermined to call the bee as Nahl. How can a brain be predetermined to give certain names to certain animals and elements? Because they come from a zygote. At one time, each of these persons were an invisible zygote in their mother. Who produced this zygote? Who will be able to construct this syntax? A mother and a father. However, they produced, again by their grandfathers and so on. Meaning, this is a chain of predetermined crossing over of genes and formation of these biochemicals. This goes back over the dinosaurs, back to Big Bang, because there is evolution, but it is programmed evolution. It is predetermined evolution. Everything takes place as the program of our Creator. Now, there's a strong question from people who hesitate in believing in holy books. They say, if everything was predetermined, are we responsible from our sins, our mistakes? If everything is predetermined, are we responsible? Yes, we are responsible, because there are degrees of freedom. The main flow of faith goes in one direction. Like, think of a big rope, the type that ties ships to the land. It goes in one direction, but its components, some of them go up, some of them go down, then they turn. Even the threads in it may change their direction, but all in all, the direction of the thick rope doesn't change. This is a model to explain it. We have a better model to explain it. One of the caliphs of Prophet Muhammad, peace be on him, Ali, was traveling one day on his horse. He had a beautiful horse paddle. One guy helped him out throughout the day, and he was continuously looking at this paddle. He liked it very much, apparently. And Ali went away for a short while. And at that time he thought, when I go back, let me give this paddle to this man. He helped me a lot. Let me give this paddle to this man as a gift. When he went back, he saw that the man had stolen the paddle and escaped. And he said, if he didn't steal this, I was going to give it to him as a gift. So it was his fate to own this paddle, but from the right or from the left. If he didn't steal it, if he didn't go from the left, he was going to receive it as a present from a very bright person. So we all have choices from which we are going to be responsible. Furthermore, another question about fate is, why does God allow certain bad things to happen? I want to share with you one of my experiences. I took a taxi in Moscow, maybe some 30 years ago, and I was talking about God, and the driver said, look, I like believers. They are mostly better than atheists, but I am myself an atheist. I said, how can you do this? How can you deny all this beauty? He said, look, if there were God, if God existed, he would be just. I said, yes, he exists and he is just. He said, look, children are dying, there are wars, young people who enter the mafia have a lot of money, professors go and wait in the queue for bread. Where is God? Good question. I said, do you have children? He said, yes. I have one son. Do you like him? I said, I love him. He is more important to me than the whole world. I said, okay, if your son, little son, gets ill and you go to a doctor and the doctor says, your son is going to die. What? Can I do anything? He said, there is one injection which is extremely expensive. Would you sell this car to buy this injection? He said, yes. Would you sell your flat also? He said, yes. A small amount is missing. Will you sell this jacket of yours? He said, yes. You will sell your car, your flat, your jacket. You will go and buy this injection to save your son. You'll come and apply the injection, and your little son will look at you and say, my dad is hurting me. Because he is unable to evaluate, to understand the big picture. So many things which we think is catastrophic is preparing for much higher things. Furthermore, if life on earth is one unit and the life after is infinite units, 1 divided by infinity is 0. So if this life full of problems is going to bring us God's appreciation and infinite wisdom, infinite happiness, it doesn't have any importance that for a short time a child was hurt, there was a war. Important is the justice, important is not to ignore our Creator and to live a just and beautiful life. Thank you. Thank you.